Bring in more revenue while saving money and differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack vying to win those guests by becoming more environmentally friendly. We will show you how easy it is and how cheap it can be, if not free, and share all the opportunities available. So join us each week as we take another step along the green path. That's one more step to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. The Green Path podcast is kindly sponsored by Sestonica, the first sustainability recognition for vacation rental homes. What if vacation rental professionals could influence millions of travellers to make their own homes more sustainable? Show the world that you have taken steps to make your vacation rental consume less and get your badge on sestonica.com. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Green Path podcast. If you have started on your Green Path journey, have you come across a situation where you think you're not sure where you're at with it? Are you dealing with so many different parts of the profit, planet, and people aspects that wouldn't it be great to see how it all fits in together, especially showing your progress with each of these aspects? Well, even if you haven't yet started on your journey, today we'll learn about one platform that centralizes your progress, and let's get into it and learn all about it. Today, my guest is Julie Cheetham from Weeva. Hello, Julie. How are you?
Hi, Deborah. So well. Lovely to be here.
Oh, and thank you very much for coming along and sharing Weeva with us. So I'd like to start where I normally start with. So, Julie, can you tell me or tell us, where did your Green Path journey start, your own personal one?
Sure. So I didn't start with a very green path at all. I started in banking and financial services, and I did that for about 15 years. And over that time, I became more and more passionate about human rights and looking at sort of labor exploitation and things that were happening in the labor market. And that led me to go into more of a consulting kind of career. And I quickly figured out that supply chain and environmental issues are very closely connected. And so it was actually the human passion that led me into a more broader, balanced business passion, which led to the environmental side of it. So I like to look at sustainability holistically rather than just thinking about carbon, for example, or waste.
Yeah. Usually, well, in my opinion, in my case, I always think about sustainability as the environment, as, you know, in terms of, in my industry, it's always about the property, the management business, but there are all those other aspects that tie in with it. Yes. And so now you're working at Weeva. So can you please explain what Weeva does?
Sure. So Weeva was born out of the COVID pandemic. One of the good things, I like to think, that came out of COVID. And one of my sustainability clients at the time was a private nature reserve in South Africa. And the owners got me together with a few other people and started a think tank to say, how could we help the resilience of this travel sector that we know and love? Because we weren't only facing COVID, there were so many other things, you know, decolonizing the sector, making it more accessible and more inclusive, dealing with the climate crisis, flight shaming, you know, carbon issues, supply chain issues. And so I was part of an initial group of 10, 15 people that really brainstormed everything that was wrong, from financial flows through to lack of resilience, which really boils down to running your business sustainably at the end of the day. And so Weeva was one of the business ideas to spin out of that. We're very fortunate to get funding, and we've launched Weeva to be a digital sustainability management system. So every business has positive and negative impacts. Weeva is like having a sustainability practitioner in your pocket, can help you to understand all those positive and negative impacts and work on them to improve the whole time and to keep monitoring and reporting.
And you mentioned holistic before, and this is a holistic system. So can you explain the four categories that the system, the framework, can you explain the framework?
Sure. So we've heard of People, Profit, Planet, or ESG. I like to think of running any business in terms of a balanced scorecard. And for us at Weeva, the things you need to pay attention to are commercial, conservation, community, and cultural aspects. In the tourism industry in particular, we need to have commercial sustainability, resilience, and future-proofing our businesses financially in terms of our customer satisfaction, our working capital management, the plans we're making for our businesses, our risk management. And then we need to pay close attention to our commercial impacts on the environment. So our conservation and environmental management work, water's there, energy and waste, but people and the socio-cultural are really the crux of the travel industry. And so are we looking after both our own people, internal community, our external communities, the neighborhoods in which our businesses operate, and the cultural associations, how we're expressing those and how we're preserving, those ancient cultures and celebrating contemporary cultures in a way that's not misappropriation. So for us, a balanced business that is sustainable looks at commerce, conservation, community, and culture. And so Weeva has metrics for all of those and breaks it down into measurable areas and helps you to understand your impacts in all of those areas.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, I will put the link for the website in the description below. But the thing that I like about it is that it's all laid out in a beautiful dashboard, and you've got the different aspects. What are the 18 things called? Not 18 steps.
Parameters.
18 parameters are all there. And so what you provide is education, and then they have like homework to do. There's some data entry or they have homework. And what were the other aspects? Then there was learn, measure, manage, and then meet and exceed the goals. So you take people on that journey?
We do. And look, sustainability is complex and complicated. And there's this big intention and action gap. So many properties, hotels, travel agents, they want to do better, but it's really intimidating. And people are also scared of greenwashing. What if I do something, but it's not good enough? I'd rather not say anything in case somebody kind of nails me for doing, saying the wrong thing. So we've tried to break it down into these 18 parts of your business we call parameters that are all measurable and manageable. You can just pick one of them or two of them, or you can try to work on all 18. So Weeva doesn't choose your journey for you, right? We're just helping you to lay out your options. Then you learn. So if you want to work on water, there are 101 guides. What is a water footprint? How do we use water sustainably? How do I know if I'm in a water scarce area or not? How do I monitor my consumption? Then we need to measure. How are you currently performing? Because we can't improve what we don't understand. So we help you to understand where to find data on certain things in your business and how to get them into the system. And we're working on automating getting a lot of that data in the system to make it easier for the users. Our Weeva system does some lovely analytics and produces great visual dashboards and infographics for you. Based on that, you can see your trends and set a target for yourself to improve. And then we can help you report against those targets. There are great resources built into Weeva. So checklists, activities, training materials, guidelines, policy documents, things that you can use in your own hotel to improve. If you've decided waste is your focus for this month, do a single-use plastics audit. We've got the checklists for you for front of house, for back of house. A lot of these things are really tricky and nobody tells you what to do. So if you can't afford an expensive sustainability consultant, at least you can have a tool like this in your back pocket.
Given the scope, all the things that you offer, who's your target audience? How big a property manager? Having one property, is Weeva too much for someone with one property?
No, so we've got small B&Bs on Weeva. It's choose your own adventure. So if you decide to use the tool purely to learn and understand your water and energy and waste management, and that's all you do with the tool, then that's fine. And so whether you're multiple properties or a single small property or a bigger group of hotels, we've tried to make it really simple language, accessible tools not scary or overwhelming.
Yeah. And you do see progress. I like the visual. It is really a visual analysis of what you're doing and how you're progressing. Yes, I do love the visualness. So there's no deadlines. The people work at their pace, at their own pace.
Yeah. And look, we will prompt you. So if you started out by putting, let's say, your energy consumption data into the system every month, and then for 3 months, we notice that you haven't put in your energy consumption data, the system will prompt you and say, hey, do you need some help? And we do have some really great customer service and sustainability practitioners that are available to help you work through challenges that you may be facing. Because sometimes we just need a bit of help, or sometimes we really get busy at our hotels, and we're not able to spare a resource to focus on some of the sustainability aspects that we want to focus on. So the Weeva system can help you to catch up, but it's your own agenda. Kind of think of your accounting system or your CRM system in your business. We are a data management system, essentially, with some lovely additional resources to help you make progress. But we're not a certification. We're not telling you what to do. We will recommend, things for your targets, your goal setting, best practice, but it's up to the hotel and their owners and their team to figure out what their short-term and longer-term goals are.
And given that some people are a bit turned off by the fact that, oh no, it's too hard, it's too complicated, can you give us just a few examples of some of the things, some of the tasks that you might be asking along this journey?
Sure. So we generally suggest that hotels start with their energy and water, and then their internal employee well-being and engagement. So if we had Deborah's hotel, our team would get you onboarded. We would load your property with you, and we'd say, this is how many rooms you have. This is your logo. This is your currency of reporting choice. Do you want metric or imperial? And we set your property up, right? Then we say to you, at the end of the month, we're going to put in all of your energy data. This is typically where you'll find it. So Deborah, go to your utility bills and put in how many kilowatt hours of energy you have purchased. And then put in if you've used diesel or other kind of gas. Have you used liquid paraffin, aviation fuel, if you have a helicopter at your hotel, perhaps? And whatever you've purchased at the end of the month, your accounting team can help you to get those figures. And your accounting team can pop them directly into the system. So you can have multiple users. You, as the owner and operator, don't have to do everything yourself. Your HR person can, by the same token, go and enter how many team members you have, what genders do they identify with, what cultural groups do they identify as, are they involved in management or ownership or not, and then we'll take you through a series of steps so that you can figure out their well-being and engagement levels. You can survey them once a year to figure out their lived experience of what you are setting out to achieve in terms of your values. So it's really not too onerous. You can get multiple people involved, and you don't have to do everything all at once. You can start. And the nice thing is, once you've got your initial human resources data in the system, maybe in a couple of months' time, you feel up to a challenge. So then we can look at occupational health and safety. Do we have a health and safety policy in place? No. Okay, well, here's an example of a generic policy that you can use. Great. Have you done health and safety training with your team? No. Okay, this is the kind of thing that you should source in terms of that. So it takes you slowly on a journey.
That's great. In terms of staff, you mentioned engagement. How would you suggest you get your staff engaged in your sustainability journey?
I think it's key to the change management over time. If you're going to change your business practices to be more sustainable, your team members are the people that are doing those tasks and those activities every day. So we need to get them on the journey, right? So Weeva has a lot of training available in the system. So how do I train my housekeepers, for example, to use less energy? And you can go through that with your teams step by step, pick a topic, for this quarter, we're going to talk about energy use. And then do that with your team on a couple of days, a month, go through some training material. But I like to always identify the champions at a business. You always find a few people that are passionate about this anyway. There will be one or two people that are passionate about gender equality in your business, passionate about accessibility. Someone else will be really passionate about climate change. Someone else will be passionate about recycling. So find out who wants to be part of your sustainability dream team or champions or advocates, and get those people formalized. Let them meet every 2 weeks, put it in their job descriptions, reward them for things that we're achieving, and make a little bit of space in their day. You don't need to have a full-time person doing this at your hotel. You just need a few passionate and committed people that can help to make the changes on the ground.
Yeah, I think that's a lovely idea, because the thing is, as an owner, if you want to be more sustainable, having that rumbling excitement behind you helps the whole business just push ahead.
For sure, for sure. And if you decide as an owner, I would like to have 0 single-use plastics, you need a few advocates in every team, so that when the spa orders small little individual bottles of amenity shampoos, that there's somebody in that team going, no, that won't work, remember, we're going single-use plastics free. So we need people to stand up for the ideas and to keep them front of mind for everyone.
Yeah. And this whole journey on your website, and I was actually thinking about this recently, the journey doesn't stop. I was thinking maybe when you hit net zero, is that when the journey stops? But I guess it just doesn't stop. It's just this continuous growth, So that's you have on your website. It's a continuous thing.
It is. It's kind of like an infinite game, because you may hit net zero in terms of energy, right? And be completely off the grid. Everything is clean energy. But every time you're replacing a vehicle, that vehicle has an impact. Every time you're doing a renovation, or even just a soft refurb, that has an impact. And then even if you completely sorted on the energy and waste front, your people are living beings, and you're going to have new people that need to be trained that come into your organization, people with great ideas, engaging your guests, continuously monitoring your supply chain to make sure that we've got more and more ethical and sustainable suppliers, looking for ways to keep dollars in the communities in which your hotel's based. These are all ongoing things that need maintenance and continuous improvements and innovation. Even looking at your menus every season, it's looking at them with a mindset rather than doing it once and then it's done forever.
Yeah, you just in your explanation just now, it did sound like, oh God, this work is just going to be endless. But I suppose it's not work. It is a mindset, and it is an awareness. So like you said, it's just when you're looking at a menu to be aware of how far is this produce coming for this menu, things like that. So it is awareness and mindset. Yeah. So it's not necessarily hard work.
I would say it's just changing the lens through which your whole team eventually operates, because these are things we do anyway. Every season we revisit our menu, right? Most places do. And so when you're looking at your menu, you go, well, what's seasonal for us and what's, local for us? And are there any great new local suppliers that we could try out? And are there any new ethical kind of products that have come onto the market around us lately? It's good practice to look at the people that you owe money to in your supply chain at least once a year and go, what are the terms? Who's giving us good service? Who's not giving us good service? And at the same time, look at, is this a sustainable supplier? Is it an American or a Canadian or a Venezuelan supplier? Or are we importing without actually realizing that we're importing? Is it a locally owned supplier, female owned? Have they done something that's innovative to create some sort of positive outcome? So it's generally things that are good business practice anyway, and perhaps asking an additional question.
Yeah. And Bob Garner, he always uses the analogy. I'm sure you know Bob or know of Bob. He uses the analogy of a packet of chips. Once you start eating, there, if you want more and more chips. Starting on Weeva, there's no, I can imagine, there is no time limit. You start on Weeva and you just do one little step and you can just sit on it for a little while. There's no rush to do any of it. It's just go at your own pace.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can imagine that pace quickens up a little bit when you get more and more into the packet of chips.
I think it just changes the way you work in general. Once you get into it, it unlocks all sorts of fun opportunities as well that the team gets quite excited about. I've worked with some fabulous hotels in cities, and once they started challenging themselves to find some interesting local excursions and local cultural activities that their guests could immerse themselves in, they had so much fun discovering their own neighborhoods. And so I think it's about how you engage this. If it's going to be some terrible thing that we all have to do on top of our day jobs, then no one's ever going to really want to help, I suppose.
But I think once you see the progress and once you see the benefits, it becomes less of a burden as like, oh God, the job on top of your job, and it becomes more of a, okay, I'm on the right path here. This is good.
You also do see some really nice outcomes just in terms of your investor lens, right? If you are owning your business or operating your business, if you get your resource usage under control, that very quickly translates into savings. And if you change to a more local supply chain, that often translates into quite big savings and better quality outcomes. If you're really engaged with your team and they're having regular training, regular conversations around interesting and different topics, you see your retention go up and you have less staff turnover, which is a huge issue for all of us, especially in front of house and sort of client-facing service staff. And so we know that for any sort of trends coming out of hospitality surveys is that the hotels and the lodges that are looking after their people are doing better in terms of staff retention, employee attraction, and also customer satisfaction scores because the team are engaged. So you do see some very nice business outcomes quite quickly.
Is there anything within Weeva that a property manager or owner can take to show the guests what they're doing? Do you sort of like highlight how to share the word about what you're doing?
So Weeva has some really nice customizable reporting functions. And so we've got a number of users creating sort of reports on a few critical things and then sharing those with media or travel agents or guests. And because that was going really well, we've created what we call your impact infographic. And that will be ready and available by the end of June. And any hotel can do a quick download of their impact infographic. And it's just a nice one-page, very visual summary that you can put on your website or share with your guests, have it up behind reception or in the rooms. And it's a good conversation starter too.
Okay, we're going to start wrapping up, but can you give me 3 reasons why I would use Weeva?
First reason, you can't improve what you don't understand. So we will help you actually understand all the different parts of your business. Reason 2, credibility. Whether you decide to certify your business for sustainability one day or not, Weeva and the data and the analytics gives you the credibility to say, this is what we do and this is the evidence that we do so, and we continue to strive and improve. And the third is that I think it's going to become a compliance factor. If you are wanting to attract business travelers, it's already a big thing. For corporate ESG reports, they need to vet all of their travel suppliers. And even for vacationers, they don't want to do homework on their holiday. They don't want to think about them damaging the planet or they're exploiting some poor local community. They want to go and stay in places where they don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I'd say compliance is going to definitely become more of a thing.
Fantastic. What a great way to wind up the interview. I will put the link for Weeva in the description below, and might pop in Julie's email address too if anyone has any.
You're welcome.
Or any questions, you can pop them in the comments below. Julie, thank you so much. It's been really lovely learning about Weeva.
Thanks for having me, Deborah. It's such a pleasure to be here, and thanks for supporting, sustainability in general. It's nice to meet like-minded people.
Yeah, it's really, really fascinating. I was explaining to Julie at the beginning of the episode. I have no sustainability background, and it's been really, really great hearing about all these great initiatives and what property managers are doing. And in fact, I realize that I'm doing a lot of sustainable things without even realizing. So it's
Yeah.
really great to become more aware of what's out there and what we're doing and what we can do. It's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
telling the stories of all the great things you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, Julie. Maybe we'll have you back for another episode soon.
Sounds good. It was lovely to meet you, Deb.
And you. Thank you, Julie.
Bye.
Bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode and were at least a little bit inspired. If you'd like to catch up on the other episodes that you've missed, just head to thegreenpathpodcast.com. See you next time.